Hello sports fans, it is Thursday, April the 18th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. I'm going to go through the NBA playoffs with you in a second. All the matchups are set. I'm going to go round by round with you. I'm going to pick the eventual NBA champion as well. I wanted to go over some new information that was coming out of Boston since the last time we talked. Of course, they did release the name of the third victim, a young woman from China who is studying here as a student, so our condolences go out to her family. Also, there was that huge explosion in Waco, Texas last night. A number of people killed, so many people injured. I mean, just a huge explosion, so our condolences go out to those people as well. Doesn't seem to be a connection between Waco and Boston as of right now. Then, of course, you had the people, sending poison in the mail to, one sent it to Obama, another one sent it to a senator. I think one person was arrested for that. I mean, we saw this with 9/11. After 9/11, people were sending poisons in the mail to, senators and congressmen. I mean, unbelievable. Just deplorable stuff. Let's hope those people are caught right away. I want to get to this, though. I mean, CNN, you talk about dropping the ball yesterday. CNN, I blame all the news stations yesterday, but CNN was the lead on this, I believe. CNN reported yesterday that an arrest was made, or an arrest was imminent, with this whole Boston, bombing situation. They said they had the guy on video, which apparently they do. That video has not been released to the public yet. I guess there's a reason for that. But CNN reported that they know the guy. An arrest is imminent. That's what they first reported. Then they say the guy's in custody and he's being taken away by U.S. Marshals. Then, soon after that, they say, wait a minute, no arrest has been made, no arrest is coming, and this is all false reporting. You talk about an awful job by CNN, and then all the other, news stations run with it because they think CNN's right. So everyone from ABC to Fox to ESPN News runs with the story. So everyone thinks they've apprehended this guy already, that he's in custody, being transported to the courthouse there in Boston. I mean, you talk about bad reporting, you talk about bad journalism. You cannot mess up a story like this. I mean, it's one thing to mess up a story about what Kim Kardashian's wearing to, like, the Oscars or something. I mean, but a story like this, just deplorable reporting. I mean, this is the type of stuff that you can lose your job for. I mean, if you work at CNN or any of these big news stations and you break a story that they caught the Boston bomber and then it turns out to be false, I mean, to me, you could lose your job for that. That is awful journalism. That is awful reporting, and that's the problem with today's world as far as everything has to be so quick. We live in this Twitter society where everyone wants information instantaneously, so CNN doesn't bother to check if this story is true. They just want to be first with it. How about you're right with it? How about you're right with the story instead of trying to be first all the time? That's the most important thing, that you have the accurate story, not who's first, second, third, or fourth. I mean, unbelievable, terrible job by CNN. How in the world do you report that an arrest is imminent and they have this guy in custody and he was taken by U.S. Marshals and he's on his way to the courthouse? Terrible journalism, awful, and then all the other stations follow it up and they don't even check on this either. Terrible. I couldn't believe what was going on here. Then they say the FBI is going to hold a news conference at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. 5 o'clock comes and goes, no press conference. Then they say it's pushed back. I'm waiting all night to hear from them. Then they say there's going to be no FBI press conference at all. So basically it was nothing last night. I mean, basically you had Obama, on the White House lawn, talking about the gun bill that wasn't passed. I mean, just a terrible, terrible job all the way around with the reporting yesterday, CNN, all the other news stations from Fox to CBS, I mean, right to ESPN. Terrible, terrible journalism. I mean, you cannot mess up a story like this. It's way too important. Like I said, this is not about what outfit Kim Kardashian is wearing. This is important stuff. To report that an arrest was imminent and that U.S. Marshals had arrested the guy and he was in custody, they actually reported he was in custody. I mean, terrible, terrible journalism. So anyway, let's hope they are on the track with this guy. I said yesterday that I figured there would be some video surveillance. There is. They have him, I guess, identified on video. No arrest made yet. I hope it's coming very soon. And I just cannot get over how bad the news stations covered this story. Deplorable, deplorable by them. All right, so that was my little rant on the news stations yesterday. Let's go to some scores from last night. Let's start in Major League Baseball. Kansas City shut out Atlanta 1-0, ended Atlanta's long winning streak. Cincinnati took a double dip from Philadelphia. Remember, they had to complete that rainout game that was 0-0 in the ninth inning. Reds wasted no time in winning that game. Then they won the second game, so the Reds win a doubleheader there. Oakland beat Houston. Oakland, very solid team. Tampa Bay beat Baltimore. Boston beat Cleveland. Boston is better than what we think. Yankees beat Arizona. Typical Yankees again. They're asleep at the wheel for about 6 innings, and all of a sudden they explode and they win the game. Pittsburgh beat St. Louis. Burnett, a one-hitter. A.J. Burnett pitched unbelievable. It's amazing. You see A.J. Burnett throwing one-hitters for Pittsburgh. You say, how in the world did this guy pitch so awful for the Yankees? Different market, though. Pitching in New York and pitching in Pittsburgh, two different things. Also, the White Sox beat Toronto. Toronto's still stumbling and bumbling. Washington beat Miami. Milwaukee beat San Francisco. Detroit beat Seattle. And San Diego swept the Dodgers for the first time at Dodger Stadium in almost a decade. I mean, the Padres limped into Dodger Stadium with only 2 wins and swept the Dodgers. Terrible week for the Dodgers. Ever since this Greinke incident, the Dodgers have not been the same. I mean, H. Ramirez will be coming back soon. Hopefully he can help the offense. Kershaw actually got shelled last night. I don't like what I see at all from the Dodgers. A couple of rainouts yesterday. Mets, Colorado, Angels, Minnesota, and Texas and the Cubs all washed out. So that was kind of some of your doings in Major League Baseball. Over to your NBA last night. The Lakers beat Houston, so the Lakers not only make the playoffs, but they go all the way up to the 7 seed. Houston drops to the 8, and Memphis beat Utah, so Utah was knocked out, right away. The Lakers didn't even have to win to make the playoffs, although the Lakers did improve their seeding with a win. How about Utah last night? Utah has a must-win situation against Memphis, and they end up scoring 70 points. I mean, how bad is Utah? How bad were they on the road? To me, Utah should trade away their players and just start from scratch. Trade away Jefferson and Millsap. Start from the bottom up. I mean, Utah needs to just get rid of this team. I don't like this team at all. They are a soft team. They can't win a road game. I cannot believe what an egg they laid last night in a must-win. I know Memphis is a good team, but come on. 70 points blown out in the second half. Terrible basketball by Utah. They don't make the playoffs. They go to the lottery where they belong. Lakers, like I said, they go up to the 7 seed. Houston drops to the 8. That's very important because now the Lakers play San Antonio. Houston plays Oklahoma City. I mean, I would much rather play San Antonio considering their age and, their injury situation than Oklahoma City. So that's where we are in the NBA. As far as your NHL last night, the Penguins continue to roll. Even with all their injuries, they beat Montreal last night. Buffalo beat Boston at Boston. Big win for Buffalo. They're only now 2 points behind a playoff spot, believe it or not. What an atmosphere up in Boston last night. This is the first sporting event since the incident. What an atmosphere. The national anthem last night. The fans were singing the anthem. The fans were tremendous last night. Awesome, awesome scene up there in Boston. I loved hearing the fans up in Boston sing that national anthem. Just tremendous, tremendous stuff. Great job by Boston and their fans last night. Buffalo did get the win. They are only 2 points out of a playoff spot. Calgary beat Detroit. That is a shocker last night. Calgary's an awful team. Detroit was fighting for that last spot. And Columbus went into Anaheim and beat Anaheim. So that means Columbus jumped Detroit. Columbus is in the 8th spot. Detroit is out of the playoffs. Detroit has made the playoffs about 20-something years in a row. Right now, they're out of the playoffs. Right now, Columbus is in. Columbus started the season horribly. They were terrible. We were talking about all the first-round draft picks they had. I mean, they have rallied, they've hung in there, and they've actually gotten to the 8th spot, and Detroit has fallen back to the 9th spot. Imagine if Columbus makes the playoffs and Detroit does not. That would be a shock. So that was kind of some of your doings from last night. Without further ado, let's get to our NBA playoffs. The matchups are set. They start on Saturday at 3 o'clock with the Knicks game. Now remember, Saturday, quadruple header, on TV with the basketball starting at 3 o'clock. Sunday, same thing, quadruple header starting at 1 o'clock. You're going to be able to find basketball any day of the week now. Double headers, games all over the place. You turn on your TV, you're going to see an NBA playoff game. Let's also keep in mind as I go through these matchups, the NBA does not reseed like the NHL. So the matchups are set. And what do I mean by that? The 1-8 matchup will play the 4-5 matchup in the next round, and the 2-7 matchup will play the 3-6 matchup in the next round. Those matchups are set. It's kind of like college basketball. The brackets are set. They don't reseed like the NHL. The NHL reseeds so they give the best team, the best chance to win. They put the best team against the worst team. Not in the NBA. The way it plays out is the way it plays out. The brackets are set. So let's keep that in mind. All right, let's get to our NBA playoffs. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. Number 8 seed Milwaukee, they will be playing the number 1 seed Miami. Milwaukee, after a decent stretch during the season, played terribly down the stretch. It's almost like they wanted to play Miami. They had ample opportunity to get out of the 8th spot. They wanted nothing to do with it. They played bad down the stretch. They're running into Miami, who's the best team in basketball for the last 2 years. This will be a sweeperoo. Miami will sweeperoo Milwaukee right out of the playoffs. Thanks for coming, Milwaukee. You're going out in 4. Miami in 4. So that's your 1-8 matchup. As far as your 4-5 matchup, Chicago at Brooklyn. Very interesting matchup because we don't know about Derrick Rose. Is Derrick Rose playing? Is he not? If he does play, how well is he going to play? To me, with Brooklyn having home court, I think Brooklyn wins this series. This is about the top of the line for Brooklyn. They can't beat anyone better than the 5-seed Chicago team. Anyone else, Brooklyn's going to have trouble with. Brooklyn can beat mediocre teams, bad teams. They can't beat the elite teams. I don't consider Chicago an elite team, especially with this Derrick Rose situation. I think even if he plays, he's going to be rusty. Brooklyn having home court, I think they beat Chicago. It'll be a tough, long series. Chicago will battle you, but I like Brooklyn to come out of it in 7 games. All right, over to your 2-7 matchup. The number 7 seed, the Boston Celtics, at the number 2 seed, the New York Knickerbockers. Boston, of course, without Rondo. Boston, a lot of age on them, all banged up. KG banged up. I mean, a lot of age. Knicks flying high at the end of this season. Carmelo Anthony was just on fire. Knicks do have a couple of injuries. Amari Stoudemire will not be ready for the opening rounds of the playoffs. He might be back if the Knicks get maybe to the conference finals or further, but no Amari early in the playoffs. Also, Rasheed Wallace looks like he's done for the playoffs, so the Knicks have a couple of injuries still. The Knicks have home court. The Knicks were rolling. They have Carmelo Anthony, Tyson Chandler anchoring that defense. Boston, too much age. Too many injuries. Boston will battle you. Believe me, Boston's going to give you an effort. This is a big rivalry. Boston will win a couple games, but I think the Knicks take care of business here, and I think the Knicks win this series in 6 games. So I like the Knickerbockers in 6 over the Celtics. Also, your number 6-3 matchup, the Atlanta Hawks are your number 6 seed. They are at the number 3 seed, the Indiana Pacers. Indiana kind of stumbled a little bit at the end. They had a chance to get that 2 seed. They let it slip away to the Knicks. Remember, they lost Granger now for the season. They don't have Granger. I do like Indiana. I like their effort. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're an elite team. I think they have enough to beat Atlanta. I think Indiana having home court, I think that's enough to beat Atlanta. Indiana is a very, very good home team. I think that'll be the difference. I will pick Indiana in 6 over the Atlanta Hawks. So there you go. I like Miami, Brooklyn, the Knicks, and Indiana in your first round of the Eastern Conference. Over to the Western Conference we go. 8 versus 1. The Houston Rockets drop to the 8th seed. They will play the number 1 seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hey, Houston, you want the 8th seed? You got it. You could have beaten either the Lakers or Phoenix. You lost to both of them. You get the 8th seed. So you know what you get for that? You get swept out of the playoffs. Oklahoma City should bomb Houston 4 in a row. Houston will make it exciting. Harden will do his thing. Houston will run up and down the court. But this will be Oklahoma City's game. This will be Oklahoma City's series. No way Houston has a shot in this series. Oklahoma City in 4. Your number 5-4 matchup. The number 5 seed, the Memphis Grizzlies. Very good defensive team. At the number 4 seed, the LA Clippers. Very, very nice first round matchup. I like the Clippers. To me, the Clippers are the second best team in the West. To me, they're the second best team in the West. I like the Clippers. I think with Paul and Griffin and all those veterans coming off the bench, they're going to have too much firepower for Memphis. Now, Memphis plays great defense. Thing about Memphis is they have no superstar. A lot of good players, no superstar. They have Marc Gasol, and they have Conley, and they have Randolph. A lot of good players, no superstar. Who's going to take the shots down the stretch? The NBA is a superstar league. Clippers have superstars. They have Paul, they have Griffin. That's going to be the difference. I like the Clippers in 6 to beat Memphis. Over to your other side of the Western Conference, the number 7 seed, the Los Angeles Lakers, and all their injuries and their traveling circus go to the number 2 seed, the San Antonio Spurs. Lakers, of course, without Kobe Bryant. Ron Artest banged up. Who knows about Steve Nash? Don't know if he's going to play. I mean, Lakers are a traveling circus. I mean, just a complete debacle. Amazing they even made the playoffs. They did win a few games down the stretch. They get up to the 7th seed. They're at number 2, San Antonio. San Antonio does get Ginobili back. That's very, very important. I don't love San Antonio. I mean, I think they're very well coached. I love the way they operate. I love their organization. A lot of age on them. Have a lot of injuries. You never know about Duncan. You never know about Ginobili, Parker. These guys could get hurt at any time. I think, though, with Ginobili coming back, Kobe being out, San Antonio at home court, you got to like San Antonio. You just have to. You can't like the Lakers. You just cannot like the Lakers here and this traveling circus of theirs. They don't play well on the road. I think San Antonio beats the Lakers in 6. Over to your 6-3 matchup. Number 6 is Golden State. They are at the number 3 seed, the Denver Nuggets, who had a tremendous year. Unfortunately, Denver lost Gallinari for the year. That's a terrible loss. Denver is deep, but you never want to lose a player like that. He's a quality player, Gallinari. Denver does get Lawson back for the playoffs. That's important. Denver has home court. That should be enough to beat Golden State. Golden State is a good home team. Their fans are tremendous. Terrible road team. Denver's not good on the road either, but they're so good at home. You have to love Denver to take care of business against Golden State. So in the first round of the NBA West, I like Oklahoma City, the Clippers, San Antonio, and Denver to get out of the first round. All right, let's go to your second round in the NBA playoffs. Here we go. We're going to have, start in the East again. Miami will play Brooklyn. Remember, those matchups would be set. Miami is playing Brooklyn in the second round. That's the way I see it happening. I said all along, I said it all year, Brooklyn can beat the mediocre to weak teams. They have a tremendous record against those teams. They can't beat the elite teams. And now they have the elite of the elite. Miami's too good for Brooklyn. Too good with home court. Miami should take care of business against Brooklyn in 6 games. I like Miami in 6 over Brooklyn. Also, you have the Knicks against Indiana in that second round. Knicks would have home court. I was saying it all year. The difference in this series could be home court. The Knicks have it. If they don't go to a 7th game at the Garden, who do you like? I mean, do you like the Pacers to win on the road with their bad road record? Not me. I like the Knicks. I like the Knicks in 7 to beat the Pacers because they will have Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. So I like Miami and the Knicks to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals in the East. Over to your Western Conference. Oklahoma City would play the Clippers in the next round. To me, these are the 2 best teams in the West. They unfortunately will meet in the second round because the brackets are set up that way. Clippers also a disappointing 4 seed. I thought the Clippers should have been a better seed than 4 this year. They kind of slipped a little bit at the end. I think these are the 2 best teams in the West. Oklahoma City against the Clippers. Oklahoma City with home court. I like Oklahoma City because of the home court. Clippers had a tough time beating those really, really good teams. Clippers, and they also lost a bunch of games to good teams at home this year, the Clippers. I like Oklahoma City to beat the Clippers in 6 games in a fantastic series. Should be wide open, run and gun, dunks all over the place. Oklahoma City and Kevin Durant in 6. On the bottom half of the Western bracket, San Antonio against Denver. Very intriguing series. San Antonio at home court. I mentioned Denver doesn't play well on the road. No Gallinari. Lawson is back but banged up. San Antonio, a lot of age. Ginobili back. With Ginobili being back healthy, which I'm going to guess he is because he's going to start the playoffs, I'm guessing Ginobili's going to be healthy. With him back healthy, Parker, Duncan, home court, I think that'll be enough to beat Denver, who's not good on the road and doesn't have Gallinari. So I'll take San Antonio, although I think it'll be a good series. I'll take San Antonio in 6 against Denver in another very, very tight, good series. So in the West, I like Oklahoma City and San Antonio to be your Western Conference Finals. All right, let's go back up to the East. The Eastern Conference Finals, we now have Final 4 teams, 2 in the East, 2 in the West. Knicks at Miami for the right to go to the NBA Championship. To me, the Knicks could beat anyone in the Eastern Conference except the Heat. I think it's the Heat's year. I think the Heat go back to the finals. I mean, the Heat are too good. They have LeBron James. They have Dwayne Wade. They have Bosh. They've added Allen. I like the Heat team. They play good defense. Don't get me wrong, the Knicks have a good, solid team. I like what Carmelo Anthony's doing. I like Chandler. But who's going to be that second star for the Knicks when they're double-teaming Anthony? J.R. Smith? He can have good games. He can have bad games. Felton? Same thing. Can you count on Felton to step up in a really big spot? The Heat have 3 stars, 2 superstars. The Knicks have 1 superstar. That, to me, is the difference. Plus, Miami has home court. I like Miami in 7 to beat the Knicks in a wild series. The Garden should be flying when the Heat come into town for this series. I like the Heat in 7. Heat get back to the NBA Finals. Over to your Western Conference we go. San Antonio at Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has home court. I like Durant. I mean, they're not as good, obviously, without Harden. They still have Westbrook. They have Ibaka. San Antonio, I've said it all year. They were going to have a big regular season. I don't like them in the playoffs. They had big regular seasons the last 2 years, and then they got picked off in the playoffs by a younger athletic team. Duncan's got a lot of age on him. We all love Tim Duncan. He's getting up there. Ginobili's always hurt. Parker's always hurt. A lot of age on the team. To me, that's a bad recipe when you're playing against a young Oklahoma City team with Durant and Westbrook and Ibaka and that crazy crowd in Oklahoma City. I like Oklahoma City in 6 games to beat San Antonio to advance to the NBA Finals. So your NBA Finals, a rematch of last year. Oklahoma City against Miami. Same thing as last year. And you know what? I think it's going to be the same result. I think it's going to be the absolute same result. And a big difference this year. Miami has home court this year. Last year, Oklahoma City had home court. Miami still beat them. This year, Miami has home court. I think with Miami having home court, LeBron James has now got that monkey off his back winning a title. They want to get this title, for Ray Allen coming over. They want to go back-to-back. Oklahoma City not as good without Harden. They replaced Harden with Martin. Martin is not the same player as Harden. I like Miami in 6 games to beat Oklahoma City and repeat as NBA champions. I say Miami goes back-to-back, does it again, beats Oklahoma City for a 2nd straight year, breaks the hearts of Oklahoma City fans. Imagine Oklahoma City's going to go to 2 straight finals and lose 2 straight finals to the same team, Miami. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think Miami in 6. Miami wins your NBA championship again. LeBron James gets his 2nd title. So there you have it. I like Miami over Oklahoma City. That's how I see the NBA playoffs playing out. Remember, in the NBA, the best team usually wins. The best team has been Miami. They were the best last year. They're the best this year. It's not like hockey, where an 8 seed is going to jump up there like the Kings like last year and win it. It's not going to be like football, where you can get the Ravens that, who are playing bad, ended up winning it. Like in baseball, you get a wild card team winning it. The NBA, the best team usually wins. The team with the best superstar. Who's been better than LeBron James? Who's been better than Dwayne Wade? Sprinkle in a little Bosh. Sprinkle in a little Ray Allen. You have back-to-back titles for the Miami Heat. They do it again this year. All right, so that's how I see the NBA playoffs playing out. It all gets going on Saturday afternoon. We're going to have basketball just for a couple months straight, all the time, every single night. All right, as far as tonight, what to watch, you have all your Major League Baseball tonight. San Francisco, Milwaukee, Texas, Cubs, Mets, Colorado, Detroit, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Boston, Cleveland, Arizona, Yankees, St. Louis, Philly, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, White Sox, Toronto, and Miami, Cincinnati. Wall-to-wall baseball. NBA, a little break until Saturday. As far as the NHL, you got some games that mean a lot tonight. Remember, we're coming down the home stretch in the NHL. Islanders at Toronto. Those 2 teams both looking like playoff teams. Florida at the Rangers. Rangers cannot afford to stumble in the Garden tonight against a bad Florida team. Rangers have to take care of business tonight. Tampa Bay at Montreal. Washington at Ottawa. New Jersey at Philly, although the luster is off that game. Those 2 teams both look like they're going to miss the playoffs. Carolina, Winnipeg, huge game. Winnipeg battling not only for the division, battling the Rangers for the last spot. Very big game. Phoenix against St. Louis, Vancouver against Dallas, Columbus against LA. We'll see if Columbus can do it again. They beat Anaheim last night. Can they beat LA tonight? Unbelievable. And Minnesota at San Jose. So a lot of stuff going on tonight between baseball and your NHL. And of course, you want to always keep your eye on the developments up there in Boston. Okay, so there you guys are. I went through the NBA playoffs with you, gave you a little preview of what to watch tonight. As far as tomorrow, we'll preview the weekend. I also want to go over some boxing with you tomorrow. We have the big Alvarez-Trout fight. Very underrated fight. I mean, if you like boxing, please tune into this fight on Saturday night. It's not pay-per-view, so it's a freebie, so you get some nice boxing on Saturday. Very underrated fight, Alvarez-Trout. The winner of this fight is going to be a huge star. They should have a huge crowd down there in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Please watch or tape this fight Saturday night. I'm going to preview the fight for you tomorrow. So there you go. There you go. You guys are all set. You guys, stay safe. Thanks for the support. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the games tonight. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, Friday. I may even throw in some movies for you tomorrow. Talk to you guys Friday. Take care.